Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Brother Minister Cepeda, the founder and the operator of Holistic Ministry that is designed specifically to provide you nourishment to your mind, your body, and your spirit. So it is a holistic ministry, and I encourage you guys to visit my website at treeoflifeoutreach.com. Familiarize yourself with my bio, familiarize yourself with the services, and be inspired by that bio. Be inspired and go share it with someone else, someone that you know is going through hard times, which is, quite frankly, the majority of people on this planet right now. But there is hope, okay? So visit the website. My contact information is up there. Make a note of that, because I dare to research any and everything that a man can conceive. If you can conceive it, if you can perceive it, anything that a man can perceive, I'll research it, I'll make a video on it, particularly if it's considered high quality and relevant information. Okay? So ain't no telling what I might make a video about, and YouTube, might abolish a channel. They do that. So that's what I got for you guys. We're going to transition from there right on into the topic of this video, which is to say your government has failed you. My so-called government, your so-called government, it has failed us, and to make matters just that much more worse, it's also actually betrayed us. Government, govern your mental, govern your mentality. This is government. So first of all, outside of the fact that we are self-governing, we don't need no government. We don't need no government. We know the difference between right and wrong. We know the difference between justice and injustice, I should say. We know the difference. People were living on this planet for years, decades, eons, before a so-called government was established. We know how to govern ourselves. We are very sacred and self-sufficient beings. We don't need no one to come in and tell us what's right and what's wrong, and then threaten to do what they decide the punishment is going to be. We are sovereign beings. So first of all, we don't need government. But okay, then you say, well, we've accepted governments. We've accepted that as a way of life. The majority of people think that we do need governments. That is what it is. And so you say, well, government is a part of the fabric of the planetary makeup right now. Okay, so you accept that as being what it is. That's what it is. But then you delve a little bit more. You say, okay, now that we've accepted the fact that government is a part of normal society, what's it doing for us? What is it doing for us? Don't point to no minor things that it's doing for us. In the big picture, it's minor for them to say, well, they have homeless shelters. Well, they have public aid. Well, they have Social Security and disabilities. In the big picture of the things, not to minimalize those things that I just mentioned, as well as other things. Those things are important, and those things are needed, and we're grateful for those things. But if you want to compare that to the totality of what government is not doing, it's a drop in the bucket. These people have promised us one thing and have delivered something that is diametrically opposed, period. And if we all look in the mirror, hand on heart, honest. We all know this. We all know this. And that's why there is all around the world people, average Joes, citizens, rising up against their government. Now, I'm not advocating anything like that. So before Mr. YouTube decide that he's going to sanction or strike my channel for making a statement such as that, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just making a note and a reference to the fact that that's what's going on. You look at Mr. Gray, Mr. Floyd Gray, and his murder, and you see what's taking place now right here in America. You look at China, what's taking place in their streets, the Middle East, all over the globe, because people have wakened up to this truth that governments have failed us and they have betrayed us. Look at what they've promised us. What have they promised us? Security. They promised us that if we put the work in, we could be successful, prosperous, we could achieve whatever we want. They promised that they would, help us. These laws that they govern would be Prometheus in their nature, in their design, in their implementation. Just pay your taxes and go along, and we promise you all these things. Good schools, good roads, a way for everybody to be able to have a chance to be successful, have an opportunity to work hard and achieve their dream, and when they reach a certain age, they could kick back and go into retirement. Just follow these guidelines. What you, being this particular group, just view that particular group as being less than they are, or being more than they are, or anything outside of what they actually are. Just trust us. And when we tell you those people are this and they should be treated that way, just do it. Just trust us. With government, we govern your mentality. And look at it. What's getting better in our society? What's getting better on the planet? Besides technology. Are we getting better as a species? Are we getting better in terms of the way we view one another, the way we treat one another? Are we getting better in terms of the way we view the world that we live in? Or are we being torn down more and more with stress and fears and separation and aggravation and irritations that's promulgated and directed close to 100% from the government? Turn on your TV, turn on your news. They're not uplifting you. They're tearing you down. And when they are making efforts to build you up, it's so that they could build you up and encourage you to go tear the next person, to go tear the next guy down. It's failed us. It's betrayed us. If we trust them, now they got us living on a system that's totally dependent for our clothes, our food, our shelter, what to think, how to be, where not to be. And don't get me started on this food chain that we're all dependent on. Oh, you don't need to worry about growing. This is what they told, our grandparents and their grandparents who were out farming and who were self-reliant with regards to them growing their own food and planting their own crops and being able to take that crop and make their own clothes. This is what was happening just a few short generations before ours. No, but you guys don't need to worry about planting your food. The government will do it. You don't need to worry about planting cotton anymore. Those days are over. We'll have clothing stores for you. And now look what's happening. If they were to stop their trucks intentionally or unintentionally, if their truck stopped, then every food item in a grocery store, the shelves will be empty in less than 3 days. And then what are we going to do? We're going to be looking, we're sitting in the middle trying to suck on it, begging and pleading for Mr. Government to come to the rescue. Guess what? Ain't nobody coming to rescue us, baby. And then after we realize Mr. Government ain't coming, what do? We'll turn our anger and our rage on each other. Yeah, Mr. Government would be hated and envied by us hated and retaliated against to at least some extent or some form by those who right now are doing everything they can to prop up the government and keep the government running. But we're going to turn on each other. We'll start breaking into each other's houses. They're talking about the possibility of the electromagnetic pulse. If that happens, that could wipe out the electric grid in a certain location, a certain area, or on the planet in its entirety. And then what are we going to do? You and me and all the rest of us, so civilized. You let that power shut down for 3 days. We'll see how civilized people act. We'll see exactly how they act. No police, no ambulance, no firefighters. No one to stand up and say, hey, look, if you do this, you're going to jail. Nobody to say that, but we have become submersed into their way of thinking that we've forgotten how to govern ourselves. So if there's nobody to tell you not to break into your neighbor's house, not to rape that woman, not to kill that guy, not to loot and do all these things, you might just go stark raging mad, like a dog who's never been let out the backyard. And this is a result of our government failing us and betraying us. Because it's bad enough if you fail somebody. If you tell somebody you're going to do this and you don't do it, that's bad enough. But then you're going to magnify and compound the problem by promising you're going to bring them some eggs, and you show up with a bucket of cement. And you knew when you told them that you was going to bring them cement. Yes, that is betrayal. And we all know this. Doesn't matter what race you are. Doesn't matter your ethnicity. This is why peace and blessings be upon Mr. Gray's soul. This is why, and not even with just him. The last few times there's been some unnecessary pain or disruption that people as a whole see as being wrong. They're all out there. These marches were usually, mostly, if not all, black. Not anymore. You got whites, Latinos, Asians, everybody's coming out. Because whether that, it's bigger than just that death. It's about people being fed up, period. They worked their whole life. When it came time for them to retire, their retirement was cut back or cut out. They went to school and watched their kids go to school and college and bust their behind and got all passing grades. Class Victorians. finished and couldn't get the job that they worked so hard and busted behind in school to get. People are fed up. And that's why it's a beautiful thing to see all these people coming out all across the planet, standing up against their government. I'm not condoning violence, Mr. YouTube, because I know you got your YouTube algorithms that just pinpoint different words, and a person can say this, and next thing you know, you instruct their YouTube with a warning or just shut them down with your little algorithms. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just pointing out the fact that this is what's going on. And it's a beautiful thing because people are getting fed up. They're not getting fed up. They're way past the point of being fed up. So now there's an overflow. Our government has failed us. It's failed us and betrayed us. Some of you got grandparents out there. Look at what they do to the veterans who came back from the war, who risked their lives, who lost limbs, have mental disabilities for the rest of their life, incur emotional disabilities for the rest of their lives. Watch their friends lose their life right before their very eyes because the government promised them this. When they came back, the government told them, hey man, look dude, we ain't got time for you. Look at what they're doing to the veterans. Look at what they're doing to all of us. And to certain ethnic groups, I don't even know if I could say which ones, but you guys know. You guys are very advanced when it comes to what they call preppers. You guys have military skills. Y'all have armory. You have weapons. You have strategies, tactics on how to combat certain things or game plans for if this house of cards that we all live in now, called the government, if it fails, you guys are ahead of the curve. But you're not putting that information out there. So you fall and prey to the same game that the next guy fell prey to, which is, I'm just going to worry about me and mine. No, there's outlets for you guys to help others because we need each other. It's not going to work if it's just this race of people on the planet. It's not going to work if it's just that race of peace or that race of people on the planet. If that's the case, there would just have been one race to begin with. Which, ironically, there is only one race, and that's the human race. But we have allowed ourselves to be broken down and considered to be all these other races. This thing called, most commonly referred to as God, whatever you're comfortable referring to it as, it doesn't make mistakes. So there's no mistake. He put white people, black people, red people, brown people, yellow people on the planet. All of us are dependent and reliant on one another. And some of us have the skill set, we have the game plan, we have the focus, we have the insight information, we have all the resources necessary to make this world a better place and to build something positive out of the rubble should it all collapse. But we're not doing that. We've been blinded. You've been blinded into thinking that you have to just save yours. Now, please get me right. Obviously, you have to save yours. How you going to save Jerry and you can't save you? You have to save yourself first, and then you have to save then it extrapolates out. Family, loved ones, community, neighbors. But once you've got that intact, and you guys do, then you're obligated as a human being to start reaching out and helping others. Being selective, obviously, on who you pick out of this community, out of that community, out of this ethnic group or whatnot, and say, hey man, look, we can teach you. We can show you, because at the end of the day, like I always like to say, like my mom, may peace and blessings be upon her, used to always say, it's not going to matter, Cepeda, if it's sunny in your backyard and the rest of the world sink. It's not going to matter. So for you guys who are doing the prepping and got your militias and your game plan, how you would respond in this scenario and that scenario, and how you would stay alive, and it's not going to behoove you to be the only one left. It sounds good if there was just only this race of people, or if it was just only that race of people. But that's a mythological creature. We all need each other. The plant needs the bumblebee, just like the bumblebee needs the plant. The bird needs the bumblebee. The cat needs the bird, and so forth and so on. So I challenge you guys to start, and you guys are creative enough, you guys are intelligent enough, thoughtful enough, organized enough, and I think you guys are even compassionate enough. I think you guys are learned enough to go within yourselves and realize the words that I am saying is the truth. You already know it. So I challenge you guys to start implementing different game plans and strategies on how you could make sure that some people in this ethnic group is informed, because we're going to need them for this, they're going to need us for that, and so forth and so on. Because at the end of the day, your government didn't just fail and betray you, it failed and betrayed all of us. And the only way we're going to make our way out of this is for us to be in it with all of us. They already done told you. They told me, if you look at them like this, just trust us. We're Mr. Government. If you look at them like this and treat them like this, then society will be great. Is it working? They've already said, well, if you just pay your taxes and do this, we'll give you clean parks and clean communities and clean roads. When the last time you went to a clean lake or a clean river? I mean, and this was not always the case, because all the rivers were once clean. And I know that people have, over the time, there's a certain wear and tear, but for all the lakes, or 85, 90% of the rivers and all this stuff, for it to be polluted, because we sat back and trusted Mr. Government, and he takes his waste and his chemicals from different places and pour them right into our food. Your grandparents, my grandparents, we all was made to suffer. Because I'll keep harking on that for the rest of this video, because our government has failed and betrayed us. They got my people looking at a certain race of people like they're the problem. It's not that race of people that's the problem. They got that race of people looking at my people like we're the problem. We're not the problem. Your government is the problem. Because they're the one who govern our mentality to have us start thinking this way in the first place. And where's it getting us? So we need to start realizing this, man, so we can stop having all this misplaced hate. So that's the word for today, man. You know, it's to pull coattails and let everybody know, who the real enemy is. They beat me over the head and beating you over the head too. The classic, piss down our back and try and tell us it's raining. At least if you're going to piss down my back, respect me enough to say, no, that's water that the bird just flew by and pissed that over, or blew, it just came in, through the wind. Somebody threw some cup of water out the window down there. You couldn't see them, and the wind blew it over. Say something. Don't just stand there boldly and piss down my back and tell me that it's raining. But that's what they're doing to us. Oh, this group of people is the problem. That group of people is the problem. We'll fix your school. We'll build up your neighborhoods. We'll fill your roads. We'll clean your lakes. You'll have a retirement plan. You'll have a health care plan. So at some point, for those of us who can make a change, it's up for us. It's time for us to actually start making that change. And stop pointing the finger at each other and one another. And stop just worrying about our backyard. You fix your backyard up, you secure it, you do what you know you need to do to make sure it can be saved, and that the efforts that you put into saving it are sustainable. You do everything you need to do, and then you branch out. So again, I like seeing all the different races coming out and starting to wake up and realize that, hey man, this government is really sticking it to all of us. All of us. So we can't no longer be separated or distracted by little petty differences anymore. Because your peeps probably worked their fingers to the bone, and the government didn't have nothing for them. So stop letting them tell you it's someone else's fault. It's their fault. I am Brother Minister Cepeda. Visit my website. My contact information is there. I'm willing to have and am totally interested in constructive dialogue, discourse, conversations, discussions about this thing and what we can do to get this word out and this message out, because it all starts with there. It doesn't behoove us to start taking out game plans about what we should do, and people ain't clear on the message of who it is. Even though they're already clear, they need to be zeroed in on that, because oftentimes they don't really come out and unite unless there's something major that has happened. And I'm saying we don't need that. We should just walk around here with the consciousness and the awareness that says 24/7, I'm not engaging in misplaced hate anymore. I see what the government is doing. I see what they have done. And they bred us up and brainwashed our mentalities. They governed our mentalities. And then they did not deliver. And for them to know that they weren't going to deliver, and for them to know that what they was going to deliver is a world of chaos, a world where people are just divided, separated, constantly in fear, constantly hating on one another. They knew then that's what they was going to deliver, but they promised us something else. Yes, that is betrayal. So that's what I got for you guys. I'll probably definitely make a part 2 on this with regards to my thoughts on, a comprehensive and practical strategies and techniques that we can use, even if it's just one household at a time. It's got to start somewhere. I'm willing to bet that once it gets started, once a ground begins to swell, it'll be so fast that they'll run for the hills. No one will have to attack them or become violent with them. It's just all about people uniting and saying, "Hey, listen, we're not going to do it anymore." What if all those people that are rioting now just decided we ain't gonna riot no more? We ain't gonna riot no more. We're just gonna stick together on every little thing. And if we have to go lay our bodies in front of the White House lawn if we have to go to Wall Street and block all the entrance and exit points just by us laying there and gathering there, that's what we're going to do. We're not going to, we ain't going to engage in no violence. We just going to unite and watch you guys crumble from within, because at the end of the day, that's all it takes for you guys to crumble from within, is for us to unite. And you know that. So my contact information is there. You can send me an email. I'm confident and determined enough to actually have my phone number there. So that's my thoughts on it, guys. I like to start each and every video by sending guys and requesting that people go to the website at treeoflifeoutreach.com so that they can read that story and to know that there are some people who really is interested in helping others, who are really willing to say what they feel and be who they really are, and are willing to say, look, man, I don't need you to govern my mentality, because I believe that if there was no such thing as government, we'd be in a much better place, because people would just simply know to hurt someone, to harm someone, to damage their property, to threaten someone, it's foul, it's egregious, and society is going to hold me or you accountable for such acts. We don't need no government for that. And if government had not crept its way into our lives and been accepted by us, we would be on that organic path of self-government, of self-governing. But we got tricked into thinking that we need them. So I start every single video, regardless of the topic, and remember, I dare to explore and research any information that the human mind can conceive. And I will make a video about it, particularly if I deem it to be, me personally, that's all I can go by, is what I personally feel is high quality and what's relevant. If you guys got some videos you guys would like to hear or be interested in my thoughts and my position on, I welcome those and I will respond. So I start every single video by requesting guys go to my website, and I end each and every video with this truth. This truth and this way of life. The truth is, I don't know all of y'all, but I do love all of y'all. And like I occasionally throw in there, this is not that Pollyanna, old Mr. Softy love. This is that love that say, hey, look, I love you. I'll assist you in every way that I can. But just like a child, even though I love my children, when they were growing up, if I caught them playing with them sockets, I gave them something to make them not play with them sockets. If I caught them running in the streets or whatever that was way out of line, I dealt with it. So this is the kind of love I have for you. Please get it right. That's a truth, and here is a definite way of life. This is my mantra and my way of life, because this is how this thing works, guys. If you're feeling bad, I challenge you to go out and make somebody else feel good, and you'll feel better. If you're already feeling good, I challenge you to go make somebody else who's feeling bad feel good, and I guarantee you'll go from feeling good to feeling phenomenal. That's just the way this thing works, guys. It's been used on us in reverse with regards to negativity and hatefulness and people feeling bad, and they go out and make somebody else feel bad. It's been working in reverse, and the powers that be know this. So don't do that. When you're feeling bad, don't feel like you have to go unload that on somebody else. You have to go project that onto somebody else. That's just creating a world where more misery, more pain, more suffering is in our reality. No, don't do that. The powers that be, they know, and so do I. And now, guess what? So do you. So what are you going to do? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to live by this truth. I've seen it work, and I've seen it at work. I continue to see it at work in my personal life, and in collective society. If you're feeling bad, go make somebody else feel good and you'll feel better. And if you're already feeling good, make somebody who's feeling bad feel good, and you will go from feeling good to feeling phenomenal. That's just the way this thing works, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for visiting the website. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I am Brother Minister Cepeda, and I do love all of y'all. Peace. Holla back.